Welcome to ESD Global's Africa webinar on Demystifying ESD, how ESD is an essential tool for every single day. Let's meet our resource persons. First in the lineup is Dr. Lami Ibrahim. Dr. Lami Ibrahim is a lecturer at a seminary in Jos, Nigeria. She is also a social development worker as well as an empowerment self-defense instructor with focus on community holistic empowerment. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
And next we have Aime Kazika. Aime is a specialist in agricultural development in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and he is the country rep of the Young Professionals for Agricultural Development, YPRAD. He is also the co-ed empowerment self-defense instructor. Aime, welcome to today's webinar.
Many thanks.
And last, but in no way the least, we have Mam MonaLisa. Lisa Camara is a Gambian women's rights activist. She also coordinates the Safe Hand for Girls initiative. She's a national coordinator for the Safe Hand for Girls initiative. Mam Camara is also an empowerment self-defense instructor. Thanks for being one of our resource persons tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Adanma Nwokoma is my name. I am also an empowerment self-defense instructor, and I'm the Communications and Online Learning Fellow for the African region of ESD Global. And I'm glad to be hosting this panel tonight. And yes, the next 45 minutes also promises to be enlightening indeed. So let's get started. Now, from the introduction, you would know that everybody in the line of, the panel are ESD graduates in the African region. And then through their jobs, they bring help and healing to victim survivors of different forms of domestic violence in Nigeria and all other forms of violence. They have also added ESD as part of the outreach curriculums they have aimed at making their communities a safer place for people to live and thrive in. So in the next couple of minutes, we'll be getting to know what the different organizations they represent do and how they help empower women and youth in their country. I'd like to start with you, Mam MonaLisa. Let's hear about your organization, what you do, and how your work empowers women and youth in your country.
Thank you, Adanma. Hello to all my fellow panelists. Good to see you again. It's been such a while. Well, Safe Hands for Girls is a survival-led organization in the Gambia that work to advocate against female genital mutilation and child marriage, but also advocate for women economic empowerment. We lead advocacy programs for both in-school and out-of-school girls in the Gambia, and we work throughout the country. Our main focus is to end violence against girls, with more focus specifically on ending FGM, which is female genital mutilation. So our work is geared towards more on advocacy, changing perceptions, educating people, and making sure that people are aware and are able to take or make decisions that are in the best interest of their children, especially the girl child.
Thank you very much, Lisa, for that. Okay, so also be throwing the same question to Lami Ibrahim. Let's get to know about the organization you work for, the organization you represent, and how your work empowers women and youth in your country.
Thank you very much, Adanma, for this time. In fact, I was just running from school to sitting down here. We are about finishing and closing. I work with the seminary, and that is one organization that I work with. I'm employed by the seminary. I teach, I lecture, and the total aim of this is to help the total person to become complete. I also work with an NGO, Maraba African Life Foundation, which is my passion, and basically to provide a foundation for the African family, especially in Nigeria, that we are not only thinking about the woman only, but we are thinking of the whole community. So in doing that, we work to see equality within the community, because I realize when we talk about gender violence, we find out that there are a few men that are actually struggling with that, but basically women. So we want to see if everybody understand themselves and they know their place, they will recognize and appreciate the other person. So basically we are working towards setting the individual free in every aspect, economically, spiritually, and as we live to become viable people within the society. But at this point, the women are very high on my mind, because all through my work teaching, I started teaching in 1982, and wherever I have taught, I have seen myself tilted towards women. And I just knew that there's something that the creator of heaven and the earth have put in place that I need to work for, because that is my zone A. So what JET is doing as a church organization is to help the total person recover themselves and to function well. And what Maraba is doing is to provide all this empowerment together. And when I met ESD, I just found out that, oh, I needed this, because especially for women, that they need to realize who they are in the community. That proverb said, you can only be seen, but you cannot be heard. So I'm working towards making women be heard, and they should know that they can be heard, and people are ready to hear them. And that is why I'm out here.
Wow, that's such an awesome one, working towards making women be heard and trying to break the bias of women being only seen and not being heard. Thank you so much, Lami, for that. Okay, so Aime, let's get to hear about the organization you represent and how you go about helping empower women and youth in your country, DRC.
Okay, thanks, Adanma, and hello, everybody. I'm very glad to join this webinar. My name is Aime Kazika. I'm a specialist in agriculture sector. I work with YPAD. YPAD is an international network focused on young people. We work with youth in many sectors, but we put our head in agriculture sector. But we think violence and abuse is actually a problem in the NGO. We have a survey in 2 years ago. We found that many youth are abused, and many youth are have difficult in when they work with in the NGO in Congo. Actually, we develop a policies in prevention of violences like abuse and sexual. Why we develop a policy in communication, in information and training. We develop a work plan for this year, and we put ESD as one of a solution to prevent violences in our community. DRC, Kinshasa is a big city, and we have actually many youth, but we think ESD is very important to develop a safety community.
Okay, thank you. Yes, if I may recap, you said a lot of youths face violence and sexual violence in DR Congo, and you're trying to help put policies in place to make sure that abuse is reduced, and you believe that ESD would help reduce the violence that youth in your country face. All right, thank you very much, Aime, for that. So I'm going to ask everyone, the one after the other, to share about your personal journey into empowerment self-defense. How did you get to know about empowerment self-defense, and what led you, into this, should I say, this area, into self-defense? I would like to start with Dr. Lami. How did you get into becoming an empowerment self-defense instructor?
Thank you. I was introduced to this program. Actually, my friend, while my husband was visiting the US, my friend, who was a friend to one of the key actors in self-defense, the writer of Beauty Bites the Beast, introduced, because she knew what we were doing, especially in working with women, African women, Nigerian women, and Northern Nigerian women especially. When you think of early child marriages, is there. When you think of poverty among women, is very high in the North. So when she heard about, when my husband went, so she made it that my husband, Bakari and Ellen met. And so actually gave him 3 of the books, and he brought it back. And so our friend Nora talked to Ellen about this woman who was in Nigeria and is doing a lot with women. And she believed that this kind of training will help her. And so when Bakari came back from the trip, he brought all this good news. He called me, we spoke before he came, and I was excited about it because I was training women on income generation. I was training women on how to be the best women they can be, wives and things like that, but how to protect themselves from being invaded, to defend themselves when they're invaded. I didn't have any idea of where to go or what to do. So when he came back with this, we got into conversation, and I was actually invited to attend the training in Israel in 2020. And it was my real privilege because I could see a lot of things that we said you can't do as a woman, that we can do them. And so that was a big encouragement for me. This is how I came in contact with ESD, and I'm happy that I am here.
Okay, but I'll quickly ask you this. You work in a religious institution. So yes. How has your teachings from ESD been accepted into where you work? You work in a seminary? So let me hear your experience teaching ESD to seminarians.
Yes, it was not easy even for me to think this was going to be something that was going to happen within there. But before I went for the training, I started using the DVD that was sent. And so I had this class. I teach classes such as globalization, the changes that are really happening in our world. And I teach communication, cross-cultural communication, and the subjects like that. So in such subjects, you are challenging yourselves and the students to actually go out of your comfort zone to try to understand what is happening outside of you. So I took my class that year, 2019, and I brought them home to watch the DVD. And in that DVD, the DVD starts with this woman that was being bullied by a man, and she just turned and she just took the man, and there he was on the ground. And after they saw the DVD, I think I had about 12 students, adults, these adult seminarians, some of them already pastors and missionaries and so. So one of them asked me, are you sure that you are not teaching us feminism? Are you sure? One said, is this not women liberation? And so we listened, and I tried to allow the other men to respond to that. And within us, there were 3 men that their daughters were molested. And those men, pastors, got up and said, they wish their daughters have seen this kind of DVD before, that women can actually handle this. And my own daughter was sitting right there. It was there I knew, that day that I knew that while she was in her place of work, because she worked outside of here, that a colleague, a doctor, went to her room and tried to molest her. They just closed from work, and she was having this, her wrapper, she just went in. It was a hot zone. And then he came in, and she asked him, go out, I want to dress. He said, you can dress. And before she knew what, he was holding her hands, and she said the only thing she had in her hand was what she used. And she said, she picked the spatula and just hit his hand. And so he released her. And she said, I wish I have had seen this before. So that began the journey in really coming back to teach. Although up to now, there are people, because I had my students in February, my department, the whole department went on a retreat. And so I taught them some of the principles in ESD, and how to defend, and how to say no, and how to kick. And when we came by, one of the pastors, because I'm dealing with adult education, right? And asked me, and he said, Ma, do you think that thing that you show us there, do you think in real life, if you do it, won't they lock you up? I said, why would they lock me up? Because you are hitting somebody at the place that the person will die. You hit a man at the ground. I said, that is exactly what I want to do. And that is exactly what I'm teaching the women to do. Because why was he there? He was there to cause her harm. But if you are able to harm him and to disarm him, that was something. So there are questions still, but the majority of the people, like in my communication class, I'm integrating ESD in ways of like the space. No, when you feel uncomfortable, don't come close. Just stay there. Don't allow people to cross you have boundaries, create boundaries. So with that, I think it's gradually coming in, but not everybody is jumping about it, but we are going on.
Okay, thank you, Lami. Quite an expository one. I have so much questions for you, but I'm going to come back to you right after this. I would like to ask Lisa, quickly, briefly summarize your journey into ESD, and then also let me know how empowerment self-defense is important in your region, the Gambia.
Thank you, Adanma. Basically, we became part, I and my colleague became part of the program through the founder of Safe Hands for Girls, who met Federica and co at a meeting in the US. And Federica reached out to say, hey, they have this program, and because of the work that we do, they think we should be part of it. So we registered, and after the registration, they send you all these disclaimers, and that scares you, that if there's any injury, they are not in charge. They were just so scary. And I said to my colleague, hang on, what are they going to be doing to us because they're making all these disclaimers, and they know, you know, they're like, and my other colleague Davis was like, "Ha, boss, you know you cannot fight, you cannot karate. It looks like it's fighting that you should give up." But then, you know, it sounded interesting. So we went ahead. When we got to Israel, we got to understand what really ESD is. In my head, when I was going, I thought the first day would be fighting, physical, but as you know, we went and it was, you know, days and days of, you know, theory, actually learning and getting to understand the concept of ESD and what it entails. I got to find that it is far more than fighting or physical fighting. It entails a lot more than that. It is about being assertive. It is about setting boundaries at the right time. And it is about all these things as part of the ESD principles that you need. That fighting is even, you know, the list. Like I say to people when I train, is you're not fighting to win. You're fighting to get away, because most of the time our attackers are men and they're more powerful than we are. We are fighting to get away and not fighting to win. And this is some of the things that I tell people when I train them. It is beyond being physical. It is about being able to use your voice, say no at the right time with the right body posture as well. So these are some of the things that we teach. ESD, with my work, I tell people it's a missing part of the puzzle. When I got to Israel, that's what I said after understanding the program. We go to communities, we go to schools and teach people what gender-based violence is. We tell them the different forms and types of gender-based violence. They get to understand, even young girls, through our young girls program, they get to understand their bodies, sexual and reproductive health. But then after you understand that, what do you do when you're facing a situation? Because we know the risks are always there, because we know someone is at a risk of being attacked or being molested at any given time, unfortunately. And when I got to the program, I'm like, yay, this is the missing puzzle. We teach you about sexual and reproductive health. We teach you what gender-based violence is, the different forms. Then we give you the tool to fight when you're in a situation like that. So ESD is definitely one of the most important components of our work. And I believe everybody that works in the area of gender-based violence, they should definitely look into having going through the ESD program and being able to transfer that knowledge. When you tell someone what gender-based violence is, give them the tool that they need to fight, because they will always come a situation when they need to fight, either physically or verbally.
Okay, so I'm quickly going to ask you this. What does gender-based violence look like in the Gambia? Like, what are the kinds of things people might go through, you know, as violence and as gender-based violence?
Okay, there's different types. There's intimate partner violence. We know that it's rampant in a lot of countries, not just this part of the world. There is sexual harassment. There is harassment in the schools. There is on solicited advances from even family members, teachers at school to students. I tell students sometimes, you know, when the badge is supposed to be on the left-hand side and it's on the right-hand side, and the male teacher tells you, hey, Adanma, it's not supposed to be here, it's supposed to be here. That is wrong. They're not supposed to touch you. Passing on the street and someone is calling you names, calling you loppy juice. It's very popular here, like, you know, big butt, things like that. How are you able to set those boundaries and be assertive? So assertiveness is one of the things, especially our teenagers programs, that we emphasize on. Set boundaries and be assertive. And because of our culture, it's difficult for us, you know, as we've discussed it so many times, for our girls to tell elders off, an uncle at home, a senior cousin at home, touching you inappropriately, or even, you know, saying certain things to you. How do you set those boundaries? How do you tell that senior cousin or uncle, you're touching me wrongly? You're not supposed to touch me at that place. It makes me uncomfortable. So these are the things that we teach people, but we emphasize on being able to use your voice first, being able to ask for help, to tell people that need to know what you're going through and be able to get away from it at the right time. So see, these are small things. You have, you know, high rate of intimate partner violence, sexual harassment, you know, on call for advances at home. So many forms of gender-based violence in the streets, at homes, at the school level. We try to talk about ESD when we even go to the schools for 2 or 3 hours. We bring that component just to tease them, to tell them that, hi, there are certain tools that you can use in order to be able to put a stop to some of the things that are happening to you on a daily basis, either from teachers. And sometimes the teachers are standing there and smiling when we mention these things, like them hitting them on their butt, touching, their chest. These things we mention and they smile. They know we are right. They said that you know we are right, that these things happen on a daily basis, but it's wrong. And the girls can always put a stop to it.
Thank you so much, Mam Lisa, for that expository talk. If you've just joined us, welcome to ESD Global Africa's webinar on demystifying ESD and letting you know how ESD is an essential tool for every single day. In our panel, we have Mam MonaLisa Camara from the Gambia. We also have Aime Kazika from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and we have Dr. Lami Ibrahim from Nigeria. Okay, very quickly, I would like to ask Lami to let us know about his journey into ESD, and then let us get to know about his experiences teaching ESD in his community. Aime.
Hi. Thanks, Adanma, for to give me the word. For us, I have now a good experience to teach ESD. After coming back in my country, after learning ESD in Jerusalem, I think, and we decided with my colleague Rachel, Sandrine, and Picasso to teach ESD in youth community or youth movement, because we work with many youth. We decided to plan each month, each 2 months after the lockdown, to teach, to share our experience, because we think ESD is very important for everyone, every person. And as Lisa said, to teach ESD is now in my life. And like tomorrow, we'll have one training with 25 youth and the women, and how we plan. And many youth like to understand this approach, to understand how to use the ESD in every time, every day, and everywhere. Actually, I developed the ability and the good mind to use ESD in the work, in the home, and I teach my children. I have 2 children. I teach them to use ESD in the school, and I teach the ESD in for the teenager, because we develop a program with many some school in Kinshasa and in province. YPAD specialists are specialists in with entrepreneurship, but many youth, because the poverty, develop the violences, and actually teaching ESD in our community is not a challenge, is very important in obligation. This is our experience. We develop this program, and we negotiate a good project with Sweden Embassy, and we put ESD as a big program for 4 years in Congo. This is our small experience with ESD in Congo.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this. What are the forms of violence that people in the Democratic Republic of Congo face? What kinds of violence, do they regularly face in the Congo?
Okay, yes, the physical violences in the first, the physical violences in the first, emotional violences in the second, and the abuse. Many youth, the girls are abused in Congo, but we think to teach them ESD is very, very important actually.
Okay, thank you very much, Aime, for your responses. Okay, I'd like you to know, everyone, that we will be able to take one question each from the audience for the panelists. But while you're getting your questions ready, I'd like to ask Lami this question. So you are in the northern part of Nigeria, and you're bringing ESD to the north, or you have brought ESD to the north. And how has this been embraced? You know, I have seen a couple of photos and videos of you teaching local women, some moves, the Palm Hill strike and all of that. How has it been embraced in the northern Nigeria where you reside? Dr. Lami.
Thank you. Well, with the kind of violence that is really growing in Nigeria and northern Nigeria especially, the need to protect oneself have become very, very necessary. And to prepare the young women who mostly are vulnerable, women mostly are vulnerable. I think a lot of parents, especially, let me start with parents. Parents are excited if their girls will know how to take care of themselves. And the girls too, like the 50 girls I had in December. I went to this school, and you look at them, they're very young. But when they started sharing their experiences with uncles, like Lisa was saying about touching the places that they are not supposed to touch, and how many uncles can touch one girl. You know, some of them we are really, really felt we wish we have known this before this time, because they're young and we are just like, okay, and this was a school and their teachers were there. And for me, I think the acceptability of ESD is on the high side than the way I thought of it. I thought because we're in the north, women mostly are supposed to be vulnerable by nature and nice and not aggressive and protecting themselves. I think we have gone a high way to hear the comments of people. But again, you know that it is not everyone that is there, because there are people who believe that a woman is a commodity. Because she's a commodity, you do unto her what you want to do with her. Like recently in Nigeria, not only now in the north, but in Nigeria, we have of Osinachi that is really, really, really bringing out a lot of things. And you talk about my religious place. You know, as religious people, we are taught, Christian, Muslims, we are taught how women should just be nice people and don't show any resistance. And also the society, bigger society, say if you are really successful, you don't have any bad thing that you should say about yourself or your family. Cover up things, just endure it. Marriage is to endure it. And so I'm hearing, especially among pastors and preachers, I'm hearing that, oh, this is the devil. Don't you think the devil want to actually destroy homes? But people are being destroyed. And so I wish I have had a Osinachi before, and to tell her, and I know I should tell her how to really hit somebody. But it's not only her, that women are going through stuff. And especially now, you need to kneel down and answer, don't stand up and things like that. But today I'm telling people, also as a cross-cultural teacher, I teach people to observe the situation and act accordingly. But even in that now, you act accordingly with knowledge that it is safe. And when it is not safe, you take care of yourself before you take care of other people. So it's accepted.
You said you made mention of somebody thinking that ESD is brought by the devil to teach people resistance or rebellion. Did I get you right there?
Well, they have not said ESD especially, but I am synonymous now with ESD and women liberation. So what we are actually talking about, what happened to our great sister Osinachi in class. And this discussion is going around, right? So the caution is to watch some of these things that are happening in the world today, that people begin to talk about when this is not happening, when you are being beaten, or you should run away, or there should be separation, or there should be divorce, and things like that. So they believe that divorce, the Bible says, women, there shall not be divorce. But I said to them, the Bible did not hinder separation. You separate and then you think. If you want to be back into this relationship, it is your choice. Nobody is forcing it on you. You have to think and believe that this is where to be. Then you get back to it. But don't live under it as you are compelled to. There's no place in the scripture that encourage violence, the beating and destroying of people. I'm a teacher, and also I'm a Bible scholar. And so there's no place that encourage violence and destruction of another human being, especially from somebody you say you are in love relationship with.
Okay, thank you very much, Lami, for that. I'm going to really quickly ask Lisa, in the Gambia, what are some reasons why people may not want to embrace empowerment self-defense?
To be quite honest, people have been really positive about ESD since we came. Even male, they just laugh it off, but they've not really spoken against it. It has been well received by people in the non-government organizations, NGOs, and a lot of people that we speak to, schools that we've been to. It has been really positive, to be honest. We have had a lot of media coverage as well with some of our programs, both national and international. So it has been received well.
Okay, I'm going to throw the same question to Aime. In DRC, in Democratic Republic of Congo, what are reasons why some people may not want to embrace ESD?
No, you came back again. I don't understand.
Okay, I said, what are some of the reasons why some people may not want to embrace ESD in DRC?
Why?
Or is everybody embracing? Is everybody happy to receive ESD? Or are there some people who think that ESD is not for them?
Okay, I understand. But when we talk about example for 5 principles of DRC, many people think actually is very important for everyone, for everyone. This is the first thing. The second is many people are not a good. It's very important for everyone. Donc, it means it's not for in a category of people actually in Congo.
Adanma, can I comment there?
Yes, please.
Yes, I just wanted to say, for us, we deliberately do, you know, get the men to step outside when we teach ESD. We have a training of young advocates where we train young boys and girls on gender-based violence and a lot more. But then when we get to the component of ESD, we make sure that we have a separate session for men where my other male colleagues take care of them. And then we only teach girls or women ESD. Like I said, I never want men to be in there. It's about teaching women some of the weak points they can use to get away when they're facing a situation.
Oh, really interesting. Lisa, you're one of the leaders in your country, the Gambia. So what's the future of ESD in the Gambia? Do we see it soon being signed into law that it's going to be compulsory for school-age children, or, you know, maybe people before they get married and all of that? What's the future of ESD, the projected future of ESD?
Well, the future is bright. No policies yet. We have not looked into it. We want to make sure that people are aware of the program first as much as we can. We've been to 5 regions in the country, and in each region, we've been to 10 schools. In each of those regions, they're introduced to ESD. Each of the sets had either, the least they had was 3 hours of ESD training, so they're introduced to the program. We want people to be aware of the program, so that way it is easy to approach and campaign with policymakers to make sure that it is incorporated as part of the policies or laws, to make sure that it is compulsory, especially for young girls, to be taught ESD. We have not gotten to that level. Like I said, at this stage, we're just trying to popularize the program, because as it is new in Gambia, we're used to karate and a lot more physical fights, but nothing like ESD, where it involves physical and soft skills of violence prevention.
Okay, so Lami, what's the future of ESD in Nigeria?
It's great. It's great because what ESD is doing, is allowing us to do, is to adapt this into our various components. That is the recent program that I ran, because it's mentoring and coaching. I bring that into it. That is not for now, it's not just ESD alone, but everywhere I enter, like this 5 principle, I teach that 5 principle everywhere. Even in the chapel, we talk about the 5 principles because they are natural. They are something that when you talk about thinking is natural. That if we are thinking some of these things that are happening around us, every human being, you will be aware of them. And to run when you can run, or to shout when there is danger, people need to know that. And not many people actually find it easy to shout when there is danger. But if you can shout and that can dispel whoever is coming, we save the situation. So I see is going to be rough. There is that roughness. But again, like I have said, that the majority are appreciating from my training, but still there are people that are asking questions. And because of this training, I've spoken with the provost of my school, and right now in the faculty, I am one of 2 females in the faculty adjuncts. And I am the younger one, you can imagine. And so recently, last week, we had a meeting of talking about research, and different aspects were given. So I was invited with another person to write something and to bring to the table something about our history, mission history, and the role of women. And you know, my book is on the role of women. And I had a postcard with somebody from the UK talking about the place of women in history. Like we say the African woman is quiet, no, the African woman have been active. If you think of the kind of communities that existed there, many of us from the north, in the middle belts here, majority of people went into the colonial service. The women run the houses, they did the farm, they carried the babies, they did everything, they sustained the communities. So so when I teach, I bring all of that and see how our people today, our women today need to actually rise up to that place that we can carry our responsibility with dignity. This thing is not just about fighting, like she said, but that we realize who we are and we can think about when things are wrong and when things are right. So I see a lot of prospect for ESD in Nigeria and in northern Nigeria. And but it's going to take time, right? When people like me and eat and we are still working, but if we are released and we are free, we are going our places. But where we are today can provide a base for ESD to grow. Because right now, there's none of my students that will pass through me and say they have not heard about this. Because I believe as church leaders and pastors and preachers and missionaries, they are the shakers and the shapers of the community. So if they can get it from here, I'm sure they will not lose it when they leave this place.
Thank you so much for that, Lami. Okay, so Aime, what is the future of ESD in the Democratic Republic of Congo?
Thanks, Adanma, for the question. I think the future of...
Can you speak a little louder? Can you speak a little louder?
Okay, you hear me?
Yeah, better now.
Okay, I say that the future of the ESD in Congo is good, but we can plan, we can develop a good plan and to teach more people because we have a lockdown. Now the whole activity is normal, and when we develop the good plan and we teach more people, youth people, and in the school. And for DRC, we develop a TV program. We use the TV and we use the radio that facilitates us to teach or to have more people learn ESD. This is our strategy to have more people learn ESD in Congo.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, looks like ESD has a bright future in different parts of Nigeria. I'll quickly wrap up by saying what I have learned so far from all you have been sharing. I have learned that ESD is not only about fighting. ESD is also about using your brains, you know, about thinking about things and processing them. Should I be here? Should I be away? You know, is this safe for me? I have also learned from what you said that speaking with your voice can also be a way of defending yourself. I have also learned from you that running away, you know, is also self-defense. And yes, I have learned that sometimes you need to know how to fight physically, and that's could also be self-defense. I also learned from you that ESD is not martial arts. It is not karate. It is not taekwondo. Thank you so much for that. I also learned that yes, it is an essential, actually, just like the topic for today. For every single day, it is an essential. People everywhere need ESD. I learned from Aime that it doesn't matter what age you are, you can learn ESD at whatever age you are. There's so much I learned from today, and I want to believe that the audience also learned. Some of the questions and comments here are in French, and so I'm unable to read them out in French, but our time is almost up. Still, I know that if anyone would like to reach out to you or listen to this recording, then we can go on to www.esdglobalselfdefense.org and listen back to the recording. But I must thank all our panelists. I must thank, firstly, Dr. Lami Ibrahim, lecturer at a seminary in Jos, social development worker and empowerment self-defense instructor with focus on community holistic empowerment. Thank you for being one of our panelists on today's webinar.
Thank you.
And I must also thank Aime Kazika, all the way from DRC. Aime is the country representative at the Young Professionals for Agricultural Development, YPRAD. He is also a co-ed empowerment self-defense instructor. Thank you for being one of our panelists tonight.
Thanks, Adanma. We can have a photo, a picture.
Yes, we will. All right. And last but not the least, I would like to thank our action woman, you know, the women's activist in the Gambia, Mam MonaLisa Camara, who is also the national coordinator for Safe Hands for Girls initiative. She's also an empowerment self-defense instructor. Thank you for being one of our resource persons today.
Thank you for having me, Adanma. Thank you to all the panelists. I miss you all.
All right, Adanma Nwokoma is my name, and well, I learned quite a lot from here today. I hope to see you in the next webinar. We'll just take a couple of snapshots right now. Okay, and that's it. All right, bye-bye, and see you in the next webinar.
Bye, thank you.